Mr. Speaker, will you please call the House to order?
The House will come to order. In the absence of clergy, let us pause for a moment of silence. Visitors are invited to join the members in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A quorum being present, the clerk will read the Journal of Sunday, March 20th. Mr. Morelli.
Mr. Speaker, I move to dispense with a further reading of the Journal of Sunday, March 20th, and that the same stand approved.
Without objection, so ordered. Mr. Morelli.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Speaker, colleagues. Let me, in just a moment, describe our schedule for the day. We have a busy week ahead, the next couple of weeks, as I'm sure everyone understands. But before I do that, let me just note that there are some important things that have happened over the years on this date, March 21st. For instance, Mr. Speaker, on this day in 1965, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. led 3,200 civil rights demonstrators on an historic march from Selma, Alabama to the state capitol at Montgomery to fight for African-American voting rights. That year, President Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act aimed at overcoming barriers at state and local levels, preventing African-Americans from expressing their constitutional right to vote. On this day 10 years ago, the social media site Twitter was founded. It has rapidly grown to boasting over 500 million users worldwide, and people can argue has profoundly changed the way thoughts and news are communicated in social media. And finally, on this day in 1939, Kate Smith recorded the iconic song, God Bless America. The tune was introduced as a peace song to calm fears during the rise of Adolf Hitler and continues to be a symbol of American pride to this day. And with that as our context, as it relates to schedule, members have on their desks a main calendar. There are 3 new bills on the calendar this week, calendar numbers 449 to 451. After any introduction and housekeeping, we will be taking up the new bills on consent, and we'll continue our work on consent where we left off last week, beginning with calendar number 250. At the conclusion of our work today, we will take up a rules change, as was noticed last week. I will consult both with the minority and we'll be making any announcements relative to conference later in the day as the need arises. And with that as a general outline, Mr. Speaker, I note there are a number of introductions. If we have any housekeeping, that would also be the appropriate time to take it up.
Certainly no housekeeping, Mr. Morelli. We do have introductions. Ms. Dupre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's certainly my pleasure today to have some special guests here with us. And before I begin with the 2 introductions at length that I have, I want to take the opportunity to introduce some folks who have come to also recognize Major Chuck Guess and Sergeant Che Cook. First of all, we're honored to have in our Assembly chambers today New York State Police Superintendent Joseph D'Amico, Lieutenant Colonel George Beach, from the New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision, Deputy Commissioner Joseph Fellner, Assistant Commissioner James O'Gorman, Colonel Dennis Bradford, the Director of CERT, Director of Crisis Intervention Unit Scott Kelly, and the Technical Security Specialist Gary Waldron, as well as Franklin County Sheriff Kevin Mulverhill. And it's now my honor thank you, gentlemen. It's now my honor to introduce Major Charles E. Guess, New York State Police Troop B Commander, in recognition of his outstanding leadership skills and professionalism during the 23-day search following the escape of 2 murderers from Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora. From June 6 to June 28, 2015, Major Guest directed over 1,500 federal, state, and local law enforcement personnel from 16 agencies who were involved in the arduous search. As many as 532 state troopers and 200 state investigators were deployed along with New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision correction officers, including the Correction Emergency Response Teams, CERT, Department of Environmental Conservation, Forest Rangers and Police, U.S. Border Patrol, FBI, U.S. Marshals, Vermont State Police, sheriff's offices from Franklin, Clinton, Essex, Washington, and Broome counties, and police departments from the City of Plattsburgh, Village of Malone, and St. Regis Mohawk Tribe. Under the speculation of the public, including some of my colleagues in this chambers and various news media, that the two escaped convicts were someplace far away, morale among the more than 1,000 searchers from these various agencies was being tested. Major Guest remained focused in his belief that without evidence to the contrary, the assumption must remain that the two escaped inmates were still in the region of the escape. Under the stellar leadership of Major Guest, the courageous men and women under his command worked 16 to 24-hour shifts under hot, humid, often rainy conditions, manning numerous roadblocks throughout the region, searching dense woods, fields, and abandoned, often isolated buildings on some of the North Country's most difficult terrain. In addition, the lack of radio communications further hindered the perilous situation as law enforcement agencies were often unable to communicate with each other. At the end of their long days, the state troopers and other law enforcement personnel returned late at night from their deployments, visibly exhausted after being pushed to the limits both physically as well as mentally. Major Guest, along with every member of law enforcement personnel, sacrificed precious time with family and friends to respond to this life-threatening situation, which put the lives of all the residents of not only the North Country and the state of New York, but neighboring states and Canada in danger. On the 21st day of this grueling search, June 26, in a wooded area off Route 30 in the town of Malone, Franklin County, a U.S. Customs and Border Protection tactical team member fatally shot escapee Richard Matt. 2 days later, on June 28th, the search ended when New York State Police Sergeant Jay Cook chased down the other escaped inmate, discharging his firearm and capturing David Sweat. Although many lives were disrupted during this tedious 23-day search, no law enforcement personnel or private citizens were injured or killed, due in large part to the competent and expert leadership skills, training, and experience of Major Charles Guest. I am especially pleased to honor Major Guest and to introduce his very proud wife, Eleanor. The strong leadership skills and unselfish devotion of Major Guest and his long career as a dedicated public servant epitomize the high standards of our New York State Police. Although Major Guest was assigned to Troop B Headquarters Ray Brook just a few months before the June escape, there is no doubt Major Charles Guest was the right man in the right place at the right time to bring this escape to a successful completion. I will also add that in addition to my professional working relationship and respect for Major Guest, on a personal level, I'm particularly proud to call Chuck Guest a friend. Mr. Speaker, before I go on and introduce Sergeant Cook, I ask that you welcome Major Guest and his wife Eleanor to these chambers.
Certainly, on behalf of Mr. Prey, the Speaker, and all the members, we welcome you, Major Batts, here to the New York State Assembly. We commend to you the privileges of the floor. We applaud your work in this critical issue, and we hope that you will continue to keep our state safe. Thank you so very much for being here with us. For a second introduction, Mr. Prey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm also honored to introduce New York State Police Troop B Sergeant Jay Cook for his tenacious efforts during the 23-day search following the escape of two murderers from Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora. Sergeant Cook left the Department of Corrections in 1994 to join the New York State Police. and upon graduating from the police academy, he was assigned to Troop B. As a trooper, Jay Cook served in several capacities, including as a senior firearms instructor. In 2001, Sergeant Cook attained the permanent rank of sergeant. After the escape of the two inmates, Richard Matt and David Sweat, on June 6, 2015, Sergeant Jay Cook assumed a lead role as a patrol supervisor, coordinating the response of troopers assigned to his strike team after numerous sightings and reports of suspicious activity were reported. Sergeant Cook led a mobile response team of troopers who spent 12 to 18-hour days answering calls from the public about possible sightings of the escaped inmates. In response to the worried calls from residents and members of the public, this team searched houses, barns, hunting camps, other structures, and open fields. In the only press interview he has given, Sergeant Cook was quoted as saying, "That was scary. It was unnerving." As the search expanded to Sergeant Cook's hometown of Chateaugay in Franklin County, Sergeant Cook's knowledge of the region was instrumental in coordinating search activities and communicating with the local residents. On Friday, June 26, a U.S. Customs and Border Protection tactical team member fatally shot escapee Richard Matt. Believing the other escaped inmate, David Sweat, was still in the area, Sergeant Cook and other troopers manned a post at Trombley Road and Route 30 in the town of Malone, where they stayed all night and throughout the next morning. Reporting for duty again at 6 o'clock on Sunday morning, June 28th, Sergeant Cook was by himself patrolling the area in the town of Constable, Franklin County, when he recognized a man walking on the road as David Sweat. Realizing he had been identified, the suspect fled across an alfalfa field, and Sergeant Cook pursued him for over 100 yards, more than the length of a football field, when he realized he could not overtake the escapee before Sweat reached a wooded area. Once again, due to his familiarity with the area, Sergeant Cook knew if Sweat reached the woods, he was only a short distance from entering Canada. Sergeant Cook yelled several times for the escapee to stop running or he would shoot. As Sweat was close to the tree line, Sergeant Cook discharged his firearm twice, striking Sweat in the shoulder and upper body. Within 4 or 5 minutes, other troopers arrived with medical kits to treat Sweat's wounds. Had Sergeant Cook not located the inmate, been in outstanding physical condition, a highly trained marksman with nerves of steel, Sweat, without a doubt, would have fled into Canada, greatly complicating the search effort. Through his unwavering commitment to serve and protect the communities and citizens of the state of New York, Sergeant Jay Cook responded without hesitation or due concern for his own welfare and safety. For his astute and perceptive actions during the manhunt, both prior to the apprehension of the second inmate and his heroism directly resulting in the capture, Sergeant Jay Cook was awarded Major Charles Guest, Troop B Commander's Exceptional Performance Award and the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund Officer of the Month Award. A lifelong resident of Franklin County, Sergeant Cook lives with his wife Carrie and their 2 daughters in one of our small communities. He is hailed as a hometown hero who has certainly earned the respect and admiration of the residents throughout the North Country, in addition to the recognition and applause of all the citizens of this great Empire State. I know how proud Sergeant Cook's family is of this quiet, humble hero, and I'm sorry they weren't able to join us here today. I am deeply honored to salute our North Country hometown hero, Sergeant Jay Cook, in recognition of his heroism, leadership skills, and dedicated public service. Mr. Speaker, Sergeant Jay Cook is likely the most reluctant person we have honored in this chamber. I promised him this recognition would be painless, and I know your usual warmth and kind comments will assure Sergeant Cook he is indeed welcome here.
Certainly. Mr. O'Donnell, on the same subject.
Thank you very much. I would like to begin by thanking the heroes who did the work that Ms. Dupree has just acknowledged. I also want to thank Ms. Dupree because during this harrowing time, she kept me in the loop of what was going on which was very important to me as the chair of the Corrections Committee, but it was also important to me because my husband's mother lives in the North Country, and as does most of his extended family. And I can tell you that I received many a frightened phone call from members of his family concerned about what was going to happen to them and to their family while this search was going on. So thank you for honoring those guests, Mr. Preet. Thank you for being here, Sergeant Cook, and I'm sorry to take up more of your time. Thank you.
Certainly, on behalf of Mr. Pree, Mr. O'Donnell, the Speaker, and all the members, Sergeant Cook, we welcome you here to the New York State Assembly, and we extend to you the privileges of the floor and our congratulations on your fine work as an officer and the work that you've done to keep us safe. And we'll make this as painless as possible. We'll just clap for you. Thank you very much. Mr. McGee for an introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for having this opportunity to introduce some important people from my Assembly District. From Chittenango, New York, we have Haley Karowich. She is the mother and the troop leader for these Girl Scouts, Lily, Abby, and Morgan Karowich, all from Madison County in Chittenango, and they are here as 3 Girl Scouts to see how we do business and visit with us. As we came over here, at least 2 or 3 times, the Girl Scouts were asked if they had any cookies to sell. And so, Mr. Speaker, would you please welcome these special guests?
Certainly, on behalf of Mr. McGee, the Speaker, and all the members, we welcome you here, ladies, to the New York State Assembly. We commend you, Mom, for taking care of these wonderful children and raising good, strong, healthy human beings, and certainly being in the Girl Scouts is a part of that, and we honor the organization. We extend to you the privileges of the floor. Always feel free to come back. We are greatly pleased that you're with us. Thank you. Ms. Russell for an introduction.
Speaker, I rise today for the purposes of an introduction. We are joined by a fantastic team from the North Country, the Thousand Islands Alexandria Bay Girls Varsity Hockey Team. They are here because they are the state champs for New York State Girls Hockey this year. And we passed in this House last week a resolution honoring their achievement. Part of the resolution notes that they were able to advance in the semifinals by beating Beekmantown 4-1. They shut out Skinny Atlas 2-0. That was their only previous loss of the season when they met before. And so it was great vindication to beat Skinny Atlas to become the Section 3 champions. And then they were able to beat out Kenmore Grand Island High School, and I don't know if any of my colleagues that are here right now represent any of those schools, but it certainly was a sweet victory for the Lady Islanders. Now, I know we probably have some Rangers fans here, but these are the Lady Islanders, so I don't think anyone can quibble about being able to support this wonderful group. The team is made up of students from the Thousand Island Central School and Alexandria Bay Central School, as well as 3 other districts in the area. This is a fantastic example of our high schools working together to ensure that there are opportunities, particularly for these young women that are gathered here today. They have been joined by their coach, Brian Hudon, as well as assistant coaches, Matt Cullen and Jamie Wiley. And they also have a cadre of supporters, parents and grandparents, and friends and family, and their loyalist supporters have also joined them here to be recognized in the state capitol today. I just want to note that anyone who's been part of any sort of championship team understands just just how much deeper you have to dig in order to be successful. Their season is extended. They're playing against teams that they haven't seen before sometimes, traveling long distances. It is a testament to the character of these young women, their ability to persevere and to do what it takes to win. I think it shows their leadership capabilities and their stick-to-itiveness that will only go on to serve the people of this state as they grow and mature into young women and our leaders of tomorrow. I'd like to also ensure that we honor their coaches and their support networks, because this is one of those, it's not really easy to be a hockey player. It's early mornings, it's late nights, and it's long bus rides, as I've alluded to. And so we want to make sure that we acknowledge all of the people in their lives that have helped them to be successful. So, Mr. Speaker, without further ado, if you could extend to them the cordialities of the House that is due such a high-caliber group of women and their supporters. Thank you.
Certainly. On behalf of Ms. Russell, the Speaker, all the members, we welcome this extraordinary hockey team here to the New York State Assembly. We commend you on your victories and on your championship. We also commend both coaches and families and supporters who have been there for you. The taste of victory that you have received, we hope, will lead you on to more victories in life. Same work will be required to be successful in your lives as you was to win the championship here. You know how to do it. We have confidence that each and one of you individually will do that. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Brabenek.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. We have three very important special guests from the mighty 98th District, so I wanted to introduce them to the chamber. We have someone that is, I consider my environmental and engineering advisor. He owns one of the premier environmental firms in the tri-state area, HUD Environmental, Mr. John Hudzina. Also, if anybody is in northern New Jersey and wants to get a wonderful bite to eat, I have the manager of one of the famous restaurants in Hackensack, New Jersey, called Solari's, a good friend of mine, Miss Lauren Conti. And they are accompanied by my Orange County coordinator, Mr. Ryan Zigman. So please welcome them. This is their first time to Albany. Thank you.
Certainly, on behalf of Mr. Brabenek, the Speaker, and all the members, we welcome these fine gentlemen here to the New York State Assembly. We extend to you the privileges of the floor. We hope that you will have a great visit. And every now and then they allow us to come to Jersey, so we might come and have a meal. Thank you so very much. Mr. Cusick.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have the pleasure to introduce someone who's no stranger to this chamber, someone who's come back to visit us. Former Assemblyman Joe Borelli is with us today. Joe has served in the Assembly for 3 years, but Joe is now a sitting member of the City Council of New York City. He's come up to discuss issues with us, and he's doing very well, Mr. Speaker, in the City Council. So if you could give him a kind introduction and the courtesies of the House, it would be greatly appreciated, sir.
Certainly. On behalf of Mr. Cusick and the Speaker, Mr. Borelli, of course, once a member, all of a member, we won't hold anything against you about being in the City Council. We are happy to have you. We hope that your time will have been beneficial today. And, of course, you are always a member and always welcome here on the floor. Thank you. Good to see you. Mr. Morelli.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let's begin our work on page 3 of the main calendar by taking up Assembly Resolution 1083 by Mr. Engelbright.
Clerk will read.
Resolution number 1083, Mr. Engelbright. Legislative resolution memorializing Governor Andrew M. Cuomo to proclaim March 20th through the 26th, 2016 as Surveyors Week in the state of New York in conjunction with the observance of National Surveyors Week.
On the resolution, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 1084, Mr. Titone. Legislative resolution memorializing Governor Andrew M. Cuomo to proclaim March 2016 as Black Angels Month in the state of New York.
On the resolution, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 1085, Ms. Simotas. Legislative resolution memorializing Governor Andrew M. Cuomo to proclaim March 2016 as Greek History Month in the state of New York in conjunction with the commemoration of the 195th anniversary of Greek independence.
Mr. Skirtatos on the resolution.
Mr. Speaker, like many of my colleagues who stand up to recognize and celebrate their roots, I am especially proud today to recognize this resolution that actually recognizes 195 years of Greek independence after nearly 400 years of slavery under the Ottoman Empire, today known as Turkey. I am also very proud of the many scientific, architectural, cultural, political, and military contributions this ancient civilization gifted to the world, not just Greek yogurt. In fact, all you need to do is just look behind me across the street at our SED building to recognize the Greek influence. And when it comes to social issues, well, the Greeks understood that love has no boundaries, gender has no boundaries, but yet it took us thousands of years to come to the same conclusion. And there are many more common challenges and experiences with us today, Mr. Speaker. In fact, the East-West conflict and terror is not new. In fact, it has been going on for thousands of years. In fact, 2,500 years ago, when the Persian Empire, today known as Iran, wanted to invade and enslave Greece, the Greeks stood up in defense of freedom and self-determination. And they did that. They expressed those feelings by casting a vote. By casting a vote with a black or a white stone. And that actually led to what is known as democracy today. This simple expression was not an easy thing, and the Athenian democracy was not easy. It was not perfect, and it has gone through much debate and transformation. Debate, by the way, that led to the truth, not to more lies. But that debate has helped to create democracy, and it is that democracy that has contributed to the American experience and helped to create the most powerful, most wealthiest, and the most generous country in the history of mankind. In fact, I know its generosity firsthand. As a child, after a 7-mile trek to school, I was received with a hot cup of coffee, Mr. Speaker, a slice of bread, and a slice of yellow American cheese from America with Love. I was grateful then, and I'm doubly grateful today. But today, our democracy is at risk. It really has reached its most critical point of its 2,500-year-old journey, and it has evolved into a plutocracy, an oligarchy, and a theater and violence in the political arena. Mr. Speaker, we also often speak about slavery in this chambers. Well, today, we all experience the global financial slavery that enslaves us all. And that is perpetrated, by the way, by the IMF, that is the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, the Bank of International Settlements, which nobody knows, the Federal Reserve, and Wall Street, all of which are the masters of this global financial plantation, and we are enslaved to debt. And countries like Greece and Puerto Rico and Argentina that can no longer pay back the debt of what they borrowed, for them, that debt will persist for generations to come. And if a person is forced to work and pay back the debt incurred by another person, well, that is indeed slavery by other means. Mr. Speaker, as a father of a proud teenage daughter who speaks 3 languages, sings, acts, and has been asking questions about the universe and our place in it since the age of 5, I want to do everything that I can to ensure that she has a better future. You see, life, just like power, is very fleeting. So how can we think that we have achieved anything in life if we are willing to leave our children worse off than us? And so today, as we reflect on this resolution, let us also reflect on our many challenges and our shortcomings and our deficits, whether our political deficit, our environmental deficit, our financial deficit, our income deficit, our ethical deficit, our political deficit, and our global overreach with no compensation, all of which are enslaving us and future generations. We all know that democracy is not easy and it's not free. Churchill once commented that democracy was the worst form of government, but that there was nothing better. So getting rid of Citizens United will do more to empower the people and give back to the people what is rightfully theirs. One person, one vote. People's voices must matter. And everything we do in life is really politics, political. And it is democracy, the software that allows all these things to work together. So, a functional, ethical, and populist democracy is our only hope for us and for future generations. We can also strengthen our democracy by advancing sound educational policies and proper funding. Only then can we instill in our children, only then can we inspire them, stir their imagination to achieve sustainable energy innovations and new building materials. I saw the builders here today that would allow us to build the next generation homes and ecosystems that have the ability to produce, conserve, and efficiently use energy. Energy is what got us so far, and it's the only thing that has improved our quality of life. But our choice of energy sources has threatened our environment, has angered our environment, and we must consider our planet hostile and begin to think of ways to protect ourselves, our environment, our food, and our water supply. I believe the governor understands that, and I appreciate his environmental and energy policies. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to reflect on this resolution today.
Thank you, Mr. Skartatos. On the resolution, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The resolution is adopted. Mr. Blankenbush for an introduction.